The vast darkness of space lit up as another planet's orbital defenses crumbled. The Dominion's biomechanical ships, resembling massive dark insects with glowing purple veins, moved through the debris field with practiced efficiency. Their hulls pulsed with an eerie light as they prepared to unleash another bombardment on the helpless world below. Admiral Ross of the Galactic Council watched the recorded footage with a heavy heart. This was the fourth independent world to fall this month. His weathered hands gripped the edge of the command table as the holographic display showed the final moments of the planet's resistance. "Play it again," he ordered, his voice rough from lack of sleep. His analysts exchanged worried glances but complied. The scene repeated, defensive platforms unleashing everything they had, their most powerful weapons barely scratching the Dominion ship's living armor. Then the inevitable counterattack, precise and devastating. The Dominion never wasted resources. They didn't destroy civilizations. They broke them. Their demands were always the same. Submit, pay tribute, and survive. Resist, and watch your world burn until you beg to surrender. In 300 years of expansion, they had perfected the art of conquest. Ross remembered his own battle against them 15 years ago. He had commanded the combined fleets of 30 worlds, the greatest armada the Galactic Council had ever assembled. Over 6,000 ships of various designs and capabilities, each representing the peak of their respective civilizations' military technology. The Dominion had sent barely half that number. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, Ross's fleet was in ruins, and the Dominion had lost only 87 ships. He still woke up some nights, haunted by the screams of dying crews and the sight of those biomechanical monstrosities, shrugging off direct hits from planet-killer weapons. "Sir," his aide interrupted his dark memories. "The Council is waiting." Ross nodded and straightened his uniform. The holographic display shifted, showing the faces of 200 representatives from the surviving free worlds. Some attended in person, their worried expressions visible in the council chamber. Others projected from secure bunkers on their homeworlds, already preparing for inevitable Dominion attacks. "The Centauri core has fallen," Ross announced without preamble. A wave of murmurs swept through the assembly. The Centauri had been among their strongest allies, their quantum technology second to none. Their leadership surrendered after the Dominion breached their inner defense sphere. Early reports suggest minimal civilian casualties. The Dominion wants their industrial capacity intact. "How many worlds remain free?" asked a representative from the Meridian cluster. 43 major systems, perhaps twice that number of minor colonies, Ross replied. "At the current rate of Dominion expansion, half will fall within the year." "What about the rumors?" a voice called out. "The transmissions from the edge of known space." Ross hesitated. "We've detected unusual activity in the unexplored regions beyond the Perseus Arm. Long-range scans show evidence of advanced technology, but nothing matching known signatures. It could be another spacefaring species that hasn't made contact yet. Or it could be myths and false hope," another representative cut in. "We cannot afford to chase fantasies while the Dominion grows stronger. I move that we open negotiations for a collective surrender. Better to submit as one and maintain some autonomy than be conquered piecemeal." The chamber erupted in argument. Ross watched them debate, his mind drifting to those strange readings from the Perseus Arm. The energy signatures were like nothing he'd seen before, and he'd studied the technologies of over 1,000 worlds. Whatever was out there, it wasn't running or hiding from the Dominion. It was building something. As the council argued, a message flashed across his private display. Another world had just gone dark, its automated distress beacons falling silent. The Dominion's tendrils spread further into free space, methodically, inexorably. Ross could only hope that somewhere, in the darkness between the stars, something or someone was preparing to challenge their reign of terror. He didn't know it yet, but at that very moment, humanity was doing exactly that. The small ship burst out of hyperspace near Earth's moon, trailing plasma and debris. Its hull bore the scars of recent combat, with entire sections missing and emergency force fields flickering weakly to maintain pressure. Inside, the crew of refugees gasped at the sight of the blue planet ahead. Scanning for defensive installations, the pilot said, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid speech. Strange. I'm not detecting any orbital platforms or defense grids. Earth's response came swiftly, but not in the way they expected. Instead of weapons fire, they received a clear transmission in their own language. Unidentified vessel. You are wounded. Medical and repair teams are standing by. Please maintain your current position. The refugees exchanged confused looks. No species they knew would offer help to an unknown ship. Before they could respond, their sensors detected movement from the moon's surface. What they had assumed was natural terrain shifted and opened, revealing massive hidden facilities. General Thomas stood in Earth's primary lunar command center, watching the rescue operation unfold. Decades of hiding humanity's true capabilities had paid off. The aliens had no idea they'd just stumbled upon one of the most advanced military installations in existence. What's their status? He asked the medical team. Multiple species aboard, sir, all showing signs of extreme stress and trauma. They're carrying data cores and what appears to be military intelligence. Based on their tech, they're from well inside Dominion space. Thomas nodded. Earth had been monitoring the galaxy's communications for years, building a detailed picture of the political landscape. They knew about the Dominion, had studied their tactics and technology from afar. Humanity had used that knowledge to prepare, developing countermeasures in secret while appearing to be nothing more than a primitive civilization. The debriefing revealed more than they'd hoped. The refugees weren't just running. They were part of a resistance movement, carrying crucial technical data about Dominion ships. Their eyes widened as they realized Earth wasn't the helpless world it appeared to be. You've been watching, one of them said, looking at the massive underground complexes. All this time, while galaxies burned, you were preparing. We learned from history, Thomas replied. Every time an advanced civilization contacted a less developed one on Earth, it ended badly for the less developed society. When we first detected alien signals, we decided to hide our progress. Better to be underestimated than conquered. The refugees were taken to a secure medical facility while their ship was moved to a research bay. Engineers swarmed over it, not to copy its technology, but to ensure their own systems were compatible with galactic standard designs. In a secure briefing room deep under the lunar surface, Thomas met with Earth's Defense Council. The holographic displays showed the latest intelligence, the Dominion's fleet movements, their weapons capabilities, and their typical battle strategies. They're efficient, one council member noted, but predictable. They've never needed to innovate because no one's truly challenged them. Until now, Thomas said, bringing up the schematics for humanity's secret weapon. The council members leaned forward, studying the design of the warship that had been under construction for the past 15 years. The Nemesis is ready, the chief engineer reported. We've incorporated the new data from the refugees. Their shields won't know what hit them. Thomas walked to the observation window, looking out at the construction bays hidden beneath the lunar surface. The Nemesis hung there, its dark hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Decades of preparation, trillions in resources, and humanity's best minds had all led to this moment. Begin final checks, he ordered. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just another species to be conquered. We're the ones they should have been afraid of all along. In the medical bay, the refugees watched Earth's ships moving through the hidden passages of the moon. One of them understood what was coming and smiled for the first time in years. The Dominion's days of terror were numbered. They just didn't know it yet. Captain James Walker stood at the viewport of the HMS Nemesis, watching as the last maintenance crews departed. The massive ship hummed with power, its quantum core pulsing with a deep blue light that seemed to bend the space around it. All systems check complete, Captain, reported his first officer, Tom Reed. The artificial singularity is stable, and the dark energy reactors are running at optimal levels. Walker nodded, his eyes tracing the unique design of his ship. Unlike the blocky military vessels of other species, the Nemesis was sleek and angular, its black hull seeming to swallow light itself. At just over 2 kilometers long, it wasn't the largest warship in the galaxy, but size had never been the point. "Show me the weapons status," Walker ordered, moving to the command chair. The holographic display lit up, showing the ship's revolutionary armament. Quantum torpedoes that could phase through conventional shields, dark matter cannons that ignored the normal laws of physics, point defense systems that could track and hit targets moving at near-light speeds. The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each handpicked from Earth's best. They had trained for years in secret, running countless simulations of battles against Dominion forces. Now it was time to put that training to the test. "Engineering reports the dimensional anchor is operational," Reed announced. This was perhaps their greatest advantage, technology that could prevent the Dominion's biomechanical ships from using their faster-than-light capabilities to escape. Walker accessed his command console, reviewing the classified files one last time. The Nemesis wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's statement to the galaxy. Every system, every weapon, every design choice was meant to demonstrate their technological superiority. "Begin power-up sequence for the main drive," Walker ordered. The ship's quantum core brightened, and the crew felt a slight vibration as systems that defied conventional physics came online. Deep inside the ship, the artificial singularity spun faster, contained within fields that had taken decades to perfect. The dark energy reactors channeled power that could fuel a small sun, feeding it through systems that would have seemed like magic to most species. "Sir," called out the sensor officer, detecting some unusual readings from the quantum core. It's exceeding projected power outputs by 20%. Walker smiled. The ship was exceeding even humanity's expectations. "Record all readings." Engineering wanted to see how she performed under real conditions. The final checks completed, and the Nemesis moved away from its lunar dock under its own power for the first time. Its movement was graceful, belying its massive size. The hull's special coating made it nearly invisible to standard sensors, appearing as little more than a shadow against the stars. "All hands," Walker announced shipwide. "This is the captain. For years, we've prepared in secret while the galaxy suffered under Dominion rule. Today, we show them that humanity isn't just another species to be conquered or ignored. Today, we bring hope to those who have none." He paused, looking at his crew. They were young, most of them, but their eyes showed the determination of people who understood their mission's importance. "Our orders are simple. End the Dominion's reign of terror. We carry with us the best technology humanity has ever created. But remember, our greatest weapon is here." He tapped his temple. "They expect their victims to think like them, to fight like them. We won't. We'll show them something they've never seen before." The Nemesis aligned itself with its first jump coordinates, deep in Dominion space. Its quantum drive spooled up, reality bending around the ship as it prepared to make history. "All stations report ready," Captain Reed announced. Walker took a deep breath. "Begin the operation. Let's give the galaxy something to talk about." The Nemesis disappeared in a flash of blue light, leaving behind a solar system that would soon be famous as the birthplace of humanity's legend. The Dominion's central command world hung like a dark jewel in space, its surface covered in living cities that pulsed with biomechanical energy. In orbit, thousands of warships formed ever-shifting patterns, protecting the heart of their empire. None of them detected the quantum ripple that signaled the Nemesis's arrival. "Broadcasting on all frequencies," Communications Officer Lisa Bell announced. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls, translating into all known Dominion dialects. Captain Walker stood from his command chair, straightening his uniform. The message they were about to send would change the galaxy forever. "Begin transmission." His voice, calm and confident, echoed across every Dominion communication channel. "This is Captain James Walker of the Earth warship Nemesis. For too long, your empire has spread terror across the galaxy. You enslave worlds, demand tribute, and crush those who resist. That ends today. In the Dominion Command Center, the High Command watched in disbelief as a single ship appeared on their sensors, broadcasting its challenge openly. The ship's design was unlike anything they'd seen, its energy readings off their charts. Walker continued, "Humanity gives you one chance. Release your slaves, end your tyranny, or be destroyed." Laughter erupted in the Dominion Command Center. A single ship, no matter how advanced, daring to challenge their entire empire. The High Commander himself responded, "Your bravery is noted, human. Your ship will make an excellent addition to our fleet once we decrypt its technology. All vessels, destroy this intruder." On the Nemesis's bridge, sensor displays lit up as the Dominion fleet moved to attack. 10,000 ships, from swift corvettes to massive dreadnoughts, all converging on their position. "They're deploying in standard attack formation," Tactical Officer Mike Grant reported. "Exactly as our simulations predicted. They're not used to having to think creatively." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "Status of our quantum shields. Operating at 100%, sir. Dark energy reserves are full. All weapons systems ready." The first wave of Dominion ships opened fire, their bioplasma weapons lighting up space. The Nemesis didn't move, letting the attacks hit its shields directly. The crew watched calmly as the energy was absorbed and redirected to their weapon systems. "Send them our response," Walker ordered. A single quantum torpedo launched from the Nemesis, its dark matter core pulsing as it phased through space. The Dominion ships didn't even try to evade. Their shields had never failed before. They learned too late that their defenses meant nothing against human technology. The torpedo passed through their shields like they didn't exist, detonating in the middle of their formation. 30 ships simply ceased to exist, their matter converted to energy in an instant. The shockwave disabled 40 more. Silence fell across the Dominion command channels. In all their history of conquest, they had never seen such devastating power from a single shot. "Second wave approaching," Grant reported. "They're adjusting their shields, trying to adapt." "Let them," Walker replied. "Time to show them what happens when humanity stops holding back." The Nemesis's dark matter cannons came online, their energy signature causing nearby space to ripple. The Dominion fleet was about to learn why humans had spent decades preparing in secret. They weren't just ready for this fight. They had been looking forward to it. "All weapons, free fire," Walker commanded. "Show them why they should have feared the dark spaces between the stars. Show them why humanity chose to wait and watch. Today, we teach them the price of tyranny." The battle that would reshape the galaxy had begun, and humanity had the opening move. Space itself seemed to bend as the Nemesis moved through the Dominion fleet. Its dark hull absorbed enemy fire, while its weapons carved paths of destruction through their formations. The Dominion commanders had never seen anything like it, a ship that fought like it knew their every move before they made it. "They're trying to surround us," Officer Grant reported, tracking the enemy movements. 8,000 ships still operational, attempting to form a sphere around our position. Captain Walker watched the tactical display with calm interest. Just as the simulations predicted, they always resort to overwhelming force. They never learned finesse. He turned to his helm officer. "Show them what real maneuvering looks like." The Nemesis quantum drive engaged, not to flee, but to dance. The massive warship moved like a fighter, appearing and disappearing between enemy formations. Each jump was precisely calculated, each position chosen to maximize damage while minimizing risk. In the Dominion Command Center, panic was setting in. "Our weapons have no effect," an officer screamed. "Their shields absorb everything. And their counterattacks, they're impossible." The High Commander watched in horror as another battle group vanished, destroyed by weapons that ignored everything they knew about physics. "How?" he demanded. "How can one ship do this?" The answer came in the form of another devastating attack. The Nemesis launched a spread of quantum torpedoes, each one passing through Dominion shields like they weren't there. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries died without even the dignity of a proper fight. "Sir," Reed reported to Walker, "enemy casualties are mounting. Their formation is breaking down. They're starting to fire randomly." Walker nodded. "They've never faced an enemy they couldn't overwhelm. They don't know how to handle being completely outmatched." He opened a channel to all Dominion frequencies. "Your weapons are useless. Your tactics are predictable. Surrender now and live." The response was another wave of desperate attacks. Bioplasma weapons, gravity bombs, and atomic disruptors all splashed harmlessly against the Nemesis's quantum shields. The energy was absorbed, converted, and turned back against them. "They're calling for reinforcements," communications reported. "Every Dominion ship within 50 light-years is being ordered here." "Good," Walker replied. "Let them come. Let them all see what happens when humanity decides enough is enough." The Nemesis's dark matter cannons fired again, their beams passing through multiple Dominion ships in a single shot. The enemy vessels didn't explode. They simply ceased to exist, their matter converted to energy that the Nemesis could use. "Enemy fleet is down to 60% strength," Grant announced. "They're trying to adapt their shields, but—" He paused, checking his readings. "Sir, I don't think they understand how our weapons work. They're still using conventional defense patterns." Walker studied the tactical display. The Dominion fleet's formations were breaking down, their legendary discipline cracking in the face of an enemy they couldn't hurt. Fear was replacing confidence, terror overtaking arrogance. "Send a message to Earth," Walker ordered. "Operation is proceeding as planned." The Dominion's response is exactly as our simulations predicted. They never learned to innovate because they never needed to. Until now. The battle continued, but it wasn't really a battle anymore. It was a demonstration. Every move the Nemesis made showed the galaxy that the Dominion's power had always been an illusion. They weren't invincible. They had simply never faced an enemy who had spent decades preparing specifically to defeat them. As news of the battle spread across subspace channels, enslaved worlds watched in awe. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't just built a better warship, they had built the perfect counter to everything the Dominion was. The Age of Terror was ending, one quantum torpedo at a time. The Dominion Command Center was in chaos. Display screens showed dozens of systems in revolt, their slave worlds rising up as news of the Nemesis' victory spread. The massive biological computer cores pulsed with stress as they tried to coordinate responses across their crumbling empire. Another supply fleet destroyed in the Vega sector. An officer reported, his voice trembling. The Nemesis appeared from nowhere, disabled all 20 ships without destroying them, and broadcasted their crew's surrender to every world in range. The High Commander slammed his fist on the control panel. For 3 weeks, this single human ship had torn through their territory like a ghost. It appeared where their defenses were strongest, proved them worthless, then vanished before they could mount an effective response. "Status of the main fleet?" he demanded. "Scattered, sir. The Nemesis leads them on endless chases, drawing them away from valuable targets. When they split up to cover more ground, it destroys them piece by piece. When they concentrate their forces, it strikes elsewhere." The tactical display told the story. Red icons showed disabled or destroyed Dominion ships, forming a web of defeat across their empire. Green marks indicated liberated worlds, their numbers growing by the day. The pattern was clear. The human ship was systematically dismantling their entire power structure. On the liberated world of New Hope, former slaves watched recordings of the Nemesis in action. They saw it emerge from quantum space, its dark hull reflecting no light, moving with impossible grace for its size. Its weapons didn't just destroy, they humiliated. Dominion ships were disabled, their crews forced to abandon ship or surrender. The humans could have sent a fleet, a resistance leader told the crowds. They could have matched the Dominion's brutality. Instead, they sent one ship, showing that quality defeats quantity. They prove with every battle that the Dominion isn't invincible. They're just bullies who've never faced a real fighter. Back on the Nemesis, Captain Walker studied the updated strategic display. His ship had just finished another raid, leaving 3 Dominion shipyards in ruins. The enemy was learning to fear the sight of his vessel, but fear wasn't his goal. "Sir," Reed reported, "another dozen worlds have declared independence. The Dominion's grip is failing faster than we predicted." Walker nodded. "They built their empire on fear and overwhelming force. We're showing the galaxy that their strength is an illusion. When one stands up to them effectively, everyone finds their courage." The Nemesis' next target was already selected. The Dominion's primary cloning facility, where they grew the crews for their biological ships. No need to destroy it. Just disable the security and broadcast its secrets to every enslaved world. "They still don't understand," Walker told his crew as they prepared for another jump. "We're not just fighting their ships, we're fighting their myth of invincibility. Every time we win, we're teaching the galaxy that resistance isn't futile. Freedom isn't just possible, it's inevitable." The Nemesis vanished into quantum space, leaving behind another sector of liberated worlds and broken Dominion ships. The message was clear. Humanity had not come to conquer, but to free. Not to destroy, but to protect. And they were winning not through brute force, but through the precise application of superior skill and technology. The galaxy was changing, one battle at a time. The high command of the Dominion knelt in their own throne room, surrounded by the ruins of their empire. Above their world, the Nemesis hung in space like a dark star, a silent reminder of their complete defeat. But it wasn't alone anymore. Through quantum windows torn in space, they could see Earth's solar system. What they saw made their remaining confidence crumble to dust. Dozens of shipyards, previously hidden beneath the surfaces of various planets and moons, were now visible. And in those yards hung ships that made the Nemesis look primitive. "You had more," the High Commander whispered, looking at the holographic display. "All this time, you had more." Captain Walker stood before them, his uniform pristine despite the weeks of battle. "The Nemesis was never our most powerful ship," he said quietly. "It was simply the one we chose to send, the one that would teach the right lesson." The former slaves who now filled the throne room watched in silence. Representatives from 100 worlds stood witness to this moment, broadcasting it across the galaxy. "Your empire stretched across thousands of systems," Walker continued. "You had countless ships, unlimited resources, and absolute power. We could have matched that. We could have sent a fleet that would have turned your worlds to ash. Instead, we sent one ship." He gestured to a display showing the battles of recent weeks. The Nemesis appearing again and again, dismantling the Dominion piece by piece, but always with precision, always with restraint. "Look at your worlds," Walker commanded. "Look carefully. How many did we destroy? How many populations did we devastate? None. We proved we could beat you without becoming you." The High Commander looked up. "Why? Why show mercy to those who never gave it?" "Because that's what makes us different," Walker replied. "We spent decades preparing not just to defeat you, but to defeat you the right way. To show the galaxy that power doesn't have to corrupt, that strength doesn't have to mean cruelty." The displays shifted, showing the Earth fleet, ships that could have ended the war in hours instead of weeks, weapons that could have reduced the Dominion to memory. "This is humanity's message," Walker announced, his voice carried to every world in what was once Dominion space. "We are strong enough to show mercy, powerful enough to choose peace, advanced enough to understand that true victory isn't about destruction, it's about building something better." The peace terms were simple. The Dominion would free all its slaves. Its leaders would face justice from those they had oppressed. But their people would not be punished for the crimes of their rulers. Instead, they would be offered membership in a new galactic alliance, one built on cooperation rather than fear. "The age of terror is over," Walker declared. "But this isn't the end. It's a beginning. Humanity didn't hide and prepare for all these years just to become another conqueror. We waited until we were strong enough to protect, wise enough to lead, and advanced enough to help everyone rise together. As the former slaves led their one-time masters away, Walker looked out at the stars. The Nemesis had fired its last shot in anger. Now it would serve as a reminder, not of humanity's power to destroy, but of their choice to protect. In the years that followed, the galaxy would remember this moment, not just the fall of the Dominion, but the rise of something greater. Humanity had proved that true strength wasn't about how much you could destroy, but about how much you could save while destroying as little as possible. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if they too were celebrating the dawn of a new era. The era of humanity's guardianship, where power served peace and strength protected the weak. The galaxy would never be the same. It would be better.